All over the internet, managers and CEOs are complaining about a new epidemic. They call it quiet quitting. They say this generation is lazy, lacks ambition, and refuses to go the extra mile at work. Society constantly frames this issue as a moral failing or a lack of internal motivation. But what if I told you that the modern corporate environment is actively engineered to destroy your ambition? Welcome back to Dr. Behaviorism. To understand this, let me share a personal story. A few years ago, on December 23rd, management demanded a massive year-end report before the holidays. Every other senior team member claimed they had plans and immediately left the office. I canceled my plans and worked until midnight to finish it alone. I put in 110% effort. I emitted a high-cost behavior, expecting that this extra effort would function as a reliable path to a positive consequence later on. Fast forward to January, it was time for the annual performance bonuses. Despite doing all the heavy lifting during the holidays, I received the absolute smallest percentage in the department. Management's argument? I was the newest employee. Even though it was explicitly a performance bonus, they rewarded the longevity of the senior employees, who regularly left early and produced less, rather than actual performance. What happened next was totally predictable. I never stayed late for unpaid overtime again. Society calls this losing your passion, but radical behaviorism has a clinical term for it: operant extinction. Extinction occurs when a previously reinforced behavior no longer produces the reinforcing consequence. If you put a coin in a vending machine and no soda comes out, you stop pushing the button. Humans operate the exact same way in the workplace. But the corporate trap gets worse through something called performance punishment. When you are the fastest, most efficient worker in the office, how does the environment reward you? It doesn't. Instead, your manager gives you the work of your slower colleagues, without extra pay. From a behavioral perspective, adding extra work functions as positive punishment. The company is literally punishing efficiency. The environment teaches you that working fast only gets you more stress. We must also look at ratio strain. In a laboratory, if you demand 500 pecks from a pigeon for the exact same reward it used to get for 5 pecks, the behavior completely collapses. With stagnant wages and inflation, the response cost for the average worker has skyrocketed while the reward has lost its value. The behavior of ambition is collapsing under the strain of the environment. This brings us to the ultimate corporate taboo: job hopping. Companies complain about zero loyalty, but behavioral science explains this perfectly through Herrnstein's matching law. The matching law states that an organism will distribute its behavior according to the density of reinforcement. If staying at your job yields a 3% annual raise under high ratio strain, but jumping to a new company yields a 20% salary increase, the organism logically follows the denser reinforcement schedule. Job hopping is simply a proactive avoidance behavior. Workers are resetting their contingencies and escaping the environment before performance punishment can take effect. The problem is not that this generation is lazy. The problem is that the contingencies of reinforcement are broken. When effort goes unrewarded, the biological response is to either emit the minimum required behavior or change the environment entirely. What was the specific moment you realized your extra effort wasn't being rewarded? Let me know in the comments below, and subscribe to Dr. Behaviorism to master your environment. See you next Sunday.